Hello and welcome to Intuitive Insights. On this channel, we discuss everything to do with the Ascension process. Today, we're going to be doing a video on soul purpose and life mission. Just kind of pulling some cards to see. This has been a huge year for people. A lot of us have really been coming into a greater understanding of who we are and what we stand for, what it is that we want, sort of our goals and our ambitions, and also just like the way that we want to make a difference in the world. Like, this is a year where we're really being called by our soul to our purpose and to our mission. Like, so many light workers, so many star seeds are being activated. We're coming into this place where we know that we were put here to make a difference in the world, and we're starting to get the little glimpses of how to go about that process, or like what the kind of difference is that we're wanting to make in the world. And so I wanted to just pull some cards on that and see what came up for that. And I think this reading is going to be really fun. And we're going to start with the Earth Warriors Oracle and see what guidance we have there around soul purpose and life mission. Soul purpose and life mission for our viewers, for the collective for which we channel. What is coming up around soul purpose and life mission? Okay, we got two cards, which is really awesome because these cards can be pretty in-depth. So we have 33, Intikana, Child of the Light, and we have 19, Shakana, Time to Cross the Threshold. And these cards are just absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to take a look and see what number 33 has to say. And I'll hold that up for you guys. There is a divine light that does not cast a shadow, nor does it cast judgment, even though it reveals truth. A truth that is sometimes hard to acknowledge and requires that we change our ways. True divine light is healing. It is unifying. It brings hope and illuminates the way. Other sorts of light exist on this planet that are not so pure nor so helpful. Those sorts of light may appear stunningly bright, yet in effect create separation and increase ego. You can recognize genuine divine presence not by how dazzling it may appear at first, but by what your devotion to that divine light evokes in your heart and your world. Trust your feelings over appearances. Move away from influences that create fear, negativity, or doubt in you. Reach out for that which uplifts your heart. Spiritual protection is being offered. Refuse to be dazzled by ego masquerading as something spiritual. Through your prayers and efforts, spiritual light has been accumulating on the inner planes, even though you may not sense that consciously as yet. There will be an intersection of events and circumstances in your physical world through which that light shall pour forth and manifest itself as grace. Continue with your spiritual devotion. There is something truly good to come of it. In the Incan tradition, Inti is the physical sun and the spiritual presence inherent in the sun's life-giving energy. Intikana is the being who is one with Inti, a child of the sun. In the esoteric mystery schools, solar child and solar angel are terms for the soul, the deeper aspect of us that is connected to the spiritual light. This oracle brings you understanding that there is a new depth of soul connection opening up for you. We enter such a sacred process through a challenge known in spiritual traditions as initiation. When we are faced with a deep unknowing, which is what happens when we are growing spiritually and moving through a spiritual initiation, we have outgrown what our minds are capable of providing. We need more knowledge, more wisdom, more light, so that we can find our way through the darkness of initiation and into the blessing of new life waiting on the other side of the process. When we turn our attention to the soul, instead of applying logic and intellect to figure out yet another doomed plan to conquer the irrepressible evolution inherent in the spiritual path, we gain comfort. Hope is a quality of the soul. It allows us to bear the uncertainty when, according to a greater wisdom, there is something that we cannot know the answer to, at least for now. Hope gives us patience that we can learn how to feel our soul connection more deeply and grow into the wisdom of the answers we need. Okay, so I'm feeling as though with this card, it's like people are beginning to tap into their souls, right? And so it's this process of like trying to sift through all of the conflicting information out there. Like there's so much, you know, when we begin in the spiritual journey, there's so much guidance out there, right? And there's so much information. And it's just like being able to sort through what's true and what's not. And really what it is, because like truth is subjective, right? Truth, we get into that a lot. I don't want to go off on a tangent about that, right? But truth is all about perspective. So it's all about finding our truth, what resonates with us. And so really learning how to get in tune with that inner guidance and just getting in tune and in communication with our own soul and not relying so much on outside things in order to validate us or in order to like, you know, we can ask spirit for confirmation so that we understand when we're on the right path, right? Because that always feels good. But at the same time, we're really being asked to tune into our own intuition. And I am getting ready to do the Jupiter retrograde video. So this is coming up a lot. It's going to be coming up a lot with that too. Is this just us being really forced into our own, like deepening our own faith and deepening our connection through just like the knowledge that we gain from the self. And also just with lots of different opportunities coming up, really looking for the opportunities. Like and this came up in, I want to say it was the Aries reading. Was it the Aries reading? I think so. Of just having all of these different opportunities and trying to find the one that resonates and the one that fits, right? And not necessarily always going for, it's like there may be a lot of us who in the past went for things and sort of our ambitious side, right? Like we wanted those things that fed our ego or those things that made us look good. And so it's seeing past the things that make us look good to the things that make us feel good. And it's using our feelings, you know, there's a lot of when we're looking up spiritual teachers and we're looking for spiritual guidance, there is a lot of ego in the way sometimes. And there is a lot of people will want to tell us the way things are. But just understand that they're only speaking from their perspective. So there's only so much you can gain from that as well. That's another message that I'm getting from this card is there's only so much. And it's just really trusting our ability to discern for ourselves what our own truth is, what our own path is, and what's going to be fulfilling for us. And just sort of not getting seduced by those surface level things and instead going deeper. And I'm feeling for a lot of people, it's about also being able to trust that the things that we are dreaming of can become our reality, and not also just settling for things that may look good or may provide but aren't necessarily in line with the path that we want to go. And just for other people too, it's this process of feeling as though we're on this path and we're gaining momentum, and then all of a sudden things aren't quite what they seem, or we start realizing that people aren't quite what they seem. Situations aren't. For some people may have had spiritual teachers that they really looked up to that now they're starting to question, and they're starting to wonder what their intentions are and their motivations are. And they're seeing more of that spiritual ego side coming out. And they're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to be involved in this anymore. So it's just like learning to trust your own internal guidance in those situations. And just to know that there comes a point too when we cross paths with someone, they're really helpful for us. But at some point, like, that relationship has served its purpose. We've gained what we were meant to gain from them, and it's okay to move on. So I'm feeling that for some people too. It's just that push-pull between whether or not, like, feeling guilty moving on, and just, you know, like releasing that guilt and just being grateful for all of the people that were placed in our paths at the time that they were placed in our paths, but also like knowing that it's okay to release those things and to move on to whatever it is that's next when that timing is appropriate. So yeah, that's what I'm feeling from that mostly. Trust your inner self, trust in the light and the unconditionally supportive assistance from the universe that the universe will lend to your purpose. You can then be fearless, impervious to manipulation, and remain steady and faithful in the face of a challenge. Yeah. And then we have Shakana, time to cross the threshold. Oh my God, that card is just beautiful too. I'm going to hold it up in a second while I read it for you guys. says, a threshold appears, bringing an ending so complete that it was no longer possible to return to what has been. The light of the stars is your faithful guide into this new world. As you trust in your divine connection, deconstructed forms, shall reshape themselves into relevant, helpful, and beautiful new ways of living, thriving, and expressing your true self. Trust in your strangest ideas, in that which is different, inspired, or unconventional. That's that Age of Aquarius energy, right? This crossing is healing and furthers the activation of your divine potential. So this brings up something that I share with you guys sometimes that one of my spiritual mentors tells me, which is like the crazier the idea, the less the idea makes sense that comes to him, the more beneficial that usually is for him. So, when those divine inspirations strike, like the crazier they are, probably the more powerful and incredible they will be. And so he just says yes. Change is afoot. You won't feel in control of the process. Trust in what is new, different, or exciting to you. Don't assume that unless all things happen easily, then you must be on the wrong path. You are on the correct path, even if the birthing pains to fulfill it are challenging. And so I want to stop here as well, and I want to talk about something else that I've talked about before, I think, that Kayla and I might have talked about. If not, then it's being talked about now. So it's this idea that when we stumble upon our soul purpose or our soul mission, a lot of times it does feel really challenging, and that's not a bad thing. One of the ways that I know that I'm moving into an area that I'm meant to move into, that I'm doing something that I'm meant to be doing, is actually when it pushes me out of my comfort zone, when it requires me to do things that I'm not 100% comfortable doing. Now, it's not things that make me uncomfortable because intuitively they don't feel right. It's things that make me uncomfortable because they cause me to have to put myself out there. They cause me to have to develop new skills, to overcome fears and limitations that I've set for myself, right? And so when that shadow stuff comes up, when those doubts start coming up, when I start questioning my abilities and my capability to do things, that's when I know I'm on the right track, because our purpose was put there also to challenge us and to help us grow. Like, we're meant to grow into the person that we are wanting to become, right? It's this process of becoming. It's this process of our deepest dreams and desires force us to really master our own energy, force us to face all of our fears and our insecurities, and to grow stronger through that process. So when we're feeling those kind of challenges, those are the challenges that show us that we're on the right path. If we feel like we're just being cut off at every pass, and it's just like crazy, ridiculous circumstances that seem to be thwarting us, then that's maybe a sign that we're not on the right path. There's no right or wrong path, but that we're on a path that may not be as desirable to our soul. But when we're just being forced to step out of our comfort zone, to develop new skills, to do different things like that, like that's a sign that we are actually moving in the direction of our dreams and the fulfillment of our soul, because our soul is growing. And if I keep talking about it, I'm just going to keep repeating myself, but I think you guys get, what I'm saying there. Then it says, you are guided to reject societal norms about how you are supposed to live or what sort of things you are supposed to value. Instead, trust your own values and believe in the truths that you feel within your own heart. In time, the world will be ready to recognize and benefit from your spiritual growth. The universe is helping you in all ways, including through correct timing. At the right moment, you will leave the past behind you and enter into the fullness of the present moment, opening up to the brightness of your future. The Oracle of Shakana comes as a portent of crossing, a spiritual bridge between one world and another. The purpose of this is to increase spiritual light within you, promoting evolutionary revolution, a kind of healing alchemy, which cannot be undone. Shakana is an oracle of destiny, of events unfolding according to the greater movements of the heavens. This is a sign of a blessing, but it also requires conscious human participation so that the loving will of the heavens can manifest fully in the world for the benefit of all. Through how you choose to live, think, and act, this sacred shift can benefit many lives, including your own. This oracle is a sign that destiny will meet with your personal efforts, and the result of this sacred convergence will be the fulfillment of an inner potential brought to life in the world. So yeah, it's like when we find our purpose, it challenges us to become better. It challenges us to maybe develop new skills, to develop new talents, to risk not being perfect, right? Like we have to confront all that stuff. But at the same time, even though that's challenging, doors and opportunities are opened to us if we're willing to put in the work. And it all happens in divine timing. It's all orchestrated for our benefit. But we can see little glimpses of the synchronicities and of the way spirit is lining things up and literally moving mountains for us once we begin this process and we really allow and we learn how to trust. That's a huge thing in the beginning. Like, we may not feel like we're getting a ton of assistance. And that's because spirit is giving us the opportunity to learn to have faith and to deepen our trust in that process. And the more we surrender and the more we trust in that process and the more we keep putting ourselves out there and we keep doing the things that we're doing, we keep being open, we keep learning, we keep growing, then those blessings start pouring in, right? And they may be small ones at first, small synchronicities, small blessings, small signs that we're on the right track. Just seeing number sequences all the time, just little tiny things like that. And then it builds up speed and it builds up momentum. The more we're able to sink into the flow of it and trust and just know that we are being cared for and we are being led in the direction of our dreams. Systems and belief structures based on disempowerment and inequality will ultimately fail. Perhaps not by one grand strike of love's army, but rather through the continual expression of new ideas that challenge the status quo, call attention to truth, and invite an inspired vision of a new way that honors all from a place of spiritual equality. This is that new 5D earth that we're creating. This is love in action, chipping away at that which would otherwise enslave the human soul in fear. It starts within us. It is the movement of consciousness destabilizing the old ways of domination and darkness, which is what's happening in the world right now, paving the way for the emergence of a new consciousness of wisdom, discernment, and love. When your journey requires that you stand apart from the crowd, don't be afraid to embrace your outsider status and the freedom it bestows upon you, to think differently and objectively analyze what isn't working, with the clarity that comes with a more remote point of observation. Your unconventional views may cause discomfort to some at first, but it is of the good sort. This sort of discomfort can stimulate a healing crisis, a divine disruption that cracks faulty belief systems, making way for inspired innovation and radical improvement. It is through the failure of that which cannot take us where we need to go that the new ideas which are able to come to the fore. I screwed that up somewhere, but you guys get it. Things not working out as we had anticipated is nothing to fear. It is often mistaken as a no from the universe, but it's really just saying there's a better way. And so something that I'm getting from this from some of you guys is this sort of, as you're really expressing, like for a lot of us, for all of us really, it's when we're able to express our authentic selves that everything starts happening for us. And the more we're able to step into our authenticity, the more the ball starts rolling, the more momentum the energy gains. But as we're doing this, as our light is growing, as we're speaking our truths, as we're expressing who we really are, it is going to cause discomfort for some. And this may be a strain on relationships. There may be people who are not comfortable with the ways that we're changing and want to hold us back, not even out of ill will necessarily, but just because they don't understand. As we're calling in our tribe, we're going to have to release some that are not going with us into this next cycle of our lives. And that's okay. And we are going to be sort of like triggering people. And that's okay too. And that's not a bad thing. That's helping them to grow. When we trigger them and we trigger a spiritual awakening in someone, or we start shaking up their belief structure, the way that they sometimes react is to lash out, right? And so we may experience some of that and have to stand strong in our beliefs and stand strong in and just keep doing the things that we're doing, whether we may not get recognition for it immediately. Like the people that we thought might be supporting us in this process may not be supportive, and that may be hurtful to us. They may perceive us as threatening because we're threatening their ego, we're threatening their belief systems, we're threatening the way that they once saw the world. And so initially they may lash out, but this process is helping to open them up as well and helping to trigger them on their own spiritual journey. So it's just like allowing them to go through that and just continuing and putting in the work and not dumbing down who we are because people are becoming uncomfortable by it, and continuing, like, you know, having respect for people. I'm not saying be disrespectful. I'm not saying completely dismiss other people's needs and other people's feelings, but I'm saying, like, don't change who you are to make other people more comfortable. We can be compassionate and we can be loving and we can stand our ground and continue to express our truth and our divinity while at the same time respecting others. And if they need to drop out of our lives, or if those relationships become strained as a result, as long as we are behaving in a compassionate fashion, like, it's not a bad thing. It may look and it may feel like a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. It's part of, everyone has an evolutionary process. And some of the people put in our lives, like, part of why we were there is to shake them up a little bit. And they may come to understand that and respect us for it, and they may not, and that's okay too. But it's just not allowing that to sidetrack your progress. And yeah, just knowing that it's like I said, if everything is constantly being blocked and it's being made very clear that it's being blocked, that may not be the right path. If some situations just don't work out the way you planned, that may just be because Spirit is rearranging a more beneficial situation for you. So it's just, either way, it boils down to trust. It just boils down to trust, and it boils down to following your inner guidance, right? There will be those that lead humanity into the new world and those that try to hold on to the old ways, which is what we were just talking about, right? You are part of the spiritual spearhead piercing through established and unhealthy paradigms. Do not be disheartened by absence of support at first, nor by risk or the possibility that the birthing of your idea into the world may take a longer time than you wished. Do not be concerned if most do not yet understand where you are coming from, or if resources are scarce at this time, as other, more recognized or conventional points of view are granted more support in the world. Have faith, right? Because once the time has come for the alternative view to take root and grow, the success shall be swift and far-reaching. Persevere and keep your faith in the right outworks of all matters according to a higher plan. Time is working in your favor, so don't resist it. This oracle comes with divine promise. Your time shall come. So it's just allowing that divine timing to occur, and just continuing to put in the work and continuing to show up and continuing to really embrace who we truly are. And as we do that, the doors will open at the right time, and the doors that are meant to close will close at the right time. And we may have a little period of time in between when one door closes and another door opens. And all we can do during that time is hold our vision, continue to grow, continue to learn about ourselves, to learn the skills and the trades and the things that we're learning, continue to work on growing our spiritual light, right? And just continuing to trust and have faith, and just put in the work, and know that, like, intense spiritual work is always rewarded. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and our human experience right now, as we're birthing this new 5D earth, is moving us into... our human experience is moving us out of the human experience into a new experience that is much more spiritually grounded, right? But it's like, first it's this process of destruction and creation, right, that we're in. And just, we see that going on in the world, and we also see that going on with ourselves. And then I want to read this one. We have Medicine Horse 41, Progress on the Path. And so right away, I'm just feeling that this is just confirmation that you are making progress, even if it seems like you're not. So just to continue to stay firm in that, and to know that you are you're growing and you're progressing a lot more than you might think. And it's always that one thing that happens, right? Like, if you've been really immersed in your purpose and you've been working really hard at manifesting whatever it is that you're looking to manifest, it's like one thing can change everything like that. And we don't know what that one thing is going to be, and it can happen instantaneously. So it may feel like nothing's really happening and we may be getting discouraged, but then all it takes is that one destined opportunity, that one that one person who notices you, that one little thing that happens and triggers this reaction that's like an avalanche, and then all of a sudden everything is happening at once. So it's sort of like enjoying the calm before the storm for a lot of us, right? Like enjoying this time that we have to relax and just flowing with it and just continuing to grow, because when these opportunities hit and we do start getting moved forward more forcefully on our path, like it's going to be a whirlwind, and there's going to be so much happening that it's like enjoying this sort of space, this void space that some of us are in right now, and just knowing that so many things are happening and being connected in the unseen that we don't know about, and just having the faith and the anticipation for the moment when that does happen, but still enjoying the journey to get there. And everything that we're learning and how we're growing on that journey, and letting that journey be as enjoyable as that next leg. And it's always a journey. So as that next leg of our journey we anticipate will be. And just really, really allowing ourselves to stay in that state of joy, in that state of faith and abundance. And so this, I'll hold it up again, says, I am Medicine Horse, bringing you the message of freedom, journey, and progress. Do not act as though you are a beast of burden. Claim your innate divine dignity. Allow yourself to feel and be graceful. Recognize and honor your needs for rest, openness, safety, and respect. An ability to hear, know, and feel spiritual truth, which will guide you in every aspect of your life journey, is opening up. Connect with your spirit. Live your truth. Yes. You are guided to honor the inner knowing that flows naturally from your instincts and intuition. As you respect your inner guiding wisdom, your life experience will improve. You will successfully navigate your way around negativity. Healing, spirit communication, and loving repair of the sense of self after any type of abuse is indicated. There is spiritual support and assistance for a journey ahead that will take you far. Progress is being made. This oracle indicates that a time of significant healing is at hand. Sometimes the most powerful healing at a soul level happens subtly. It may involve emotional catharsis and dramatic psychological aha moments, but it often happens almost invisibly without us realizing how much our inner work is reshaping us from within. Eventually, we experience the fruits of our inner journey. Our interpretation of past experiences changes, empowering us to leave behind old points of view, former identities, and negative expectations for the future. We begin to feel the lightness and promise of our spirit. We discover and take delight in our own divine beauty. We have made progress, and a new horizon opens up. Horse medicine brings a special type of healing through two particular equine traits: authentic connection and heightened sensitivity. Many types of emotional damage to human beings can be healed through the experience of these two principles of horse wisdom. It is the task of a spiritually aware and skillful counselor, be that a human or a horse, to mirror back one's own emotional experience with authenticity, presence, honesty, and acceptance, in a way that builds a sense of real connection to another living being. Horse medicine is the soul medicine of trust. Trust in oneself, trust in spirit, trust in our bodies, intuitions, instincts, and in life itself, to guide us and provide us with what we need. Yeah, so this is all about, as we're in this space and some of us may feel like not a whole lot is happening, to just continue also as we're continuing to move and progress towards our goals, like allowing that healing to continue to happen on a personal level as well. You know, there are a lot of people who are drawn to being healers, right? And so the first step in that is healing ourselves. And as we heal ourselves, as the internal world continues to shift, the external world shifts to match. So all of the intense healing that you're doing on yourself right now is helping to manifest what it is that you desire. And it is helping, it could be a very integral part of the role that you play. It could be training you as well for the role that you're going to play in the lives of others. And so it's just really embracing this healing process as well, while we're also taking those steps towards our goals and stepping into our authenticity. And every time we step into a deeper level of our authenticity, there's stuff that comes up, right? There's shadow stuff that comes up. There's stuff that comes up that needs to be healed. And so we allow that stuff to come up and we heal that stuff and we hold that stuff. And then we step into our next level of spiritual advancement. Yeah. When horse medicine comes to you, there is a deepening in your aliveness, a release of automatic reactivity and defensiveness, and an ability to be increasingly alive, authentic, and real. You will believe more and more that the universe has your back and has blessed you with the resources that you need, not only to survive, but also to thrive. You will also understand that you do not need to take this journey alone. Horse doesn't want to be held back in any way, and its appearance is a sign of progress being made in our physical worldly pursuits, and especially in the inner process of soul healing. Horse medicine is helpful for cultivating a loving and respectful relationship with the body, rather than trying to dominate it with mind. Yeah. So this is, constructive attitudes toward fear, trusting in our bodies and the wisdom of our bodies, acknowledging of emotions, channeling our vital energy, the vital energy of our emotions into conscious choices that allow for progress, vitality, and engagement with the world. So this is also, us just getting more in touch with our emotional selves and our spiritual selves and our bodies, and utilizing all of that to strengthen our intuition and our guidance, and learning how all the aspects of self are actually here to guide us. And so I think we're going to pull... I'm being drawn to the Sacred Rebels, which is interesting because I was going to do something else, but these are calling me. So we're going to pull a Sacred Rebels card as well. And so actually that makes sense because these cards are all about embracing our uniqueness and sort of standing up for what we believe in, and that journey of being that rebellious soul, right, who came here to change and to leave a mark on the world and to make the world a better place. And so, actually, that's completely perfect that this deck would want to be utilized right now. Yeah, we'll take both of those. Okay. So we have number 44, Visions of Life Beyond Death. This card has come up in a couple of the astrological, and actually in one of the twin flame readings too, I think. And then What You Want Wants You. So we're gonna skim over the Visions of Life Beyond Death. I think this is about really also connecting to our spiritual selves, our spiritual and our intuition opening up. Sacred vision is awakening within you. You're becoming blessed with the ability to truly see what is real rather than what appears to be. This is true insight. What was once considered consequential may soon be found to hold little consequence after all. What was once dismissed as an irritation or irrelevance may be seen to have great spiritual significance. As mundane as something once appeared, it could now be worthy of absolute attention. The gift of genuine vision takes you into the being of the universal creator. This is sacred terrain beyond logic, convention, and that which is limited in any way. Yeah, so this is sort of what we were talking about as we learn to tune into our emotions, as we learn to tune into our bodies, into all aspects of our intuition, right? This sacred vision is opening up within us, and we're able to see so much more than what we were able to see before. And this is when the path becomes illuminated, right? This is when we really step into our destiny. And this is when our gifts start coming, right? And we start being able to see, we start being able to discern, like we talked about with, being able to discern who is actually wanting the best for us, and maybe who is not, who is appropriate and helpful and who is not, which paths to choose. All of this different stuff we're coming into as we really hone our intuition and we hone our inner awareness. The vision of love, the truth of all that is, can move us more than anything else possibly can. If you have been wondering about your life path, or whether you should take action on a project, or you need inspiration to really move out of a slump that you have fallen into, then this oracle brings you a message of hope. You will receive your vision. You will be graced with a way out of the stagnancy. You will be able to see things differently and more accurately. Any confusion or uncertainty you have felt is going to pass, and you will be left with clear insights. Yeah, so we may have shocking moments and realizations that come as this ability to discern truth is activated within us. And it's, some of those may be a bit jarring, but ultimately in the end, it's beneficial. You know, truth is always a positive thing, even if it's a bit uncomfortable when we first have to sort of face it, right? Like, it's always better to see with truth and to move from a place of truth, like to live. In order to manifest the things we want to manifest, we have to be able to live from a place of truth and authenticity. And we have to be able and willing to see things as they are, not as we would like them to be. Yeah, and this is also confirmation that any situations that seemed unjust, anywhere where we may have been wronged, like, it's just allowing the universe to deal with that situation in its own way and not getting caught up in that either. Yeah, and it's all about shifting perspectives and shifting perspectives and the way that we relate to others, and just sending love to all people. Like, as our perceptions open up, we realize that, like, I am you and you are me. And everybody, you know, when people act in a way that is hurtful or harmful to us, it's really their own inner wounding that they're working out. And so instead of judging them, or instead of feeling slighted by them or getting caught up in those resentful emotions, it's just about sending them love and having compassion for others as we would have compassion for ourselves, and vice versa. And so for some, that's coming up as some of these truths and these understandings are illuminated. And then this oracle comes with the additional message that your ability to perceive is expanding into truth. Your ability to be inspired and see the light in all things is unfolding. It must be nourished in your heart with loving acceptance, because you are going to help others through your vision, your art, and how you choose to be in the world. The healing and then what you want wants you. So what I'm getting from this card is just that we talk about it all the time. The things that you desire, the things that you're being pulled and drawn towards, are also being pulled and drawn toward you. So it's just allowing that to happen. And as our vision opens up, right, and we're able to see through the situations that maybe were unclear before, we're able to understand people's motivations better, understand people's intentions, and sort of we have those flashes of insight that sort of show us where we're trying to go and what's getting in the way of that. It's also opening us up to understanding the things that we truly want. And those things are being attracted to us. And the moment we give them our attention, it starts building the momentum to bring those things toward us. So that is what I'm getting from that. Just trusting trusting in the path that we're being led to, knowing that our desires are put there for a purpose. Yeah. Keep dreaming of your fulfillment, but don't imagine it as always awaiting you in some distant future. Instead, play with what it will feel like to be so fulfilled right now. How will you feel different? Will you be more grateful, more peaceful and content, more confident, more trusting of your ability to create and in the loving responsiveness of this wild universe? Cultivate those feelings. Get to feel what genuine desire and the meeting of that desire that can then generate yet new desire is like for you. Give yourself permission to go there right now. Remember that if you have people in your life who are shutting you down, suggesting that what you want is not possible or that you are aiming too high, then they need this healing too. Perhaps you can inspire them by giving yourself permission to heal. This will naturally open them to the idea that they could give themselves permission to know and fulfill their unique desires too. Whether someone chooses to be inspired by you or to be fearful of your innate creative power, it is completely up to them. Not up to you, up to them. This oracle brings you the message that whether you see it coming or not, your desire is already on its way to you, right? As soon as we put our attention on it, that momentum increases. It is closer than you think, and soon you will be able to see it, touch it, feel it, and enjoy it. You will then become inspired for your next manifestation based on the true desires of your heart. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. And I think we're going to call it right there, guys. So that is some guidance for people on their soul path. as we're stepping into our light, as we're stepping into our mission. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Definitely, if the video resonated, leave a comment. If you like this video, definitely like it. We love just knowing that you guys are enjoying these videos. I want to throw out there, as I always do, Kayla and I both offer personal readings as well as energy healing sessions, and those can be done remotely. They are incredibly powerful. Almost more powerful, I think, remotely. The remote sessions that I do with the Belvaspata, the energy is so intense and so profound. And so don't hesitate just because of the distance to reach out. I absolutely guarantee that it will be a profound experience for you. As much as I can guarantee anything like that. But I mean, I can absolutely guarantee that there is no difference between having a distance session and having one in person. And if you're trying to figure out your path and your purpose, or you're having some stumbling blocks along the way, readings can definitely help to give you insight into that. And the Belvaspata can, or any of the Kayla does divine healing, it can just help to open you up, right? It can help to release some of those blocks, to really move us into this energy. It opens up the life. When we open up our energy, we open up everything, right? Because everything is energy. So in this and any purpose really, but definitely when it comes to this kind of stuff, like, it can be so beneficial. So don't hesitate to reach out to either one of us. The services and our emails and everything are listed in the box below. You can also donate to this channel if you feel so moved to do so. We absolutely appreciate that as well. And we love every single one of you, and we will talk to you all very, very soon.